Yo, my wonderful people, my viewers and subscribers all over the world. Good morning to you all. I don't salute you. I don't carry waka. They come this morning. I'm just arriving from Newark in London. I just went there for a brief meeting concerning the referendum of Biafra Republic. And I met one of my brother, where he named be Professor Chedi Odinkalo, and also is a chairman based in the United Kingdom, which is UK. Well, there is a lot of things we need to know or we need to learn in this early morning broadcasting concerning this our brother. He is Anambra Truth, Justice and Peace Commission, according to even now and also then. And this young man have been spoken very well concerning the Nigerian politics, the shenanigans, the so-called selection, and also the independence or the referendum of independence of the Republic of Biafra. So we are here to ascertain some certain levels which this man have spoken concerning what is happening in the Nigerian political class and all the shenanigans, all the brouhaha, all the innuendos that is happening within this administration and the past administration. Well, we people have to agree with me that Professor Chidi Odinkalo have been a very prominent Igbo man from Anambra State, spoken well about the Igbos, about what is happening, and he's always at the point of any affair that got to do with justice. So let us take our little bit of our time to listen to what this our brother is here to tell us concerning the restiveness of Biafra and the state which we are into at this moment in time. In fact, I don't want to talk much. Let us hear direct from the horse's mouth. We're going to hear this headline before we proceed into the main reason why we are here this morning. Professor Chidi Odinkalo is chairman, Anambra Truth, Justice and Peace Commission, constituted by Governor Charles Soludo in June of 2022, as you can see, to acquire into the violent agitations and restiveness in the state and in the neighboring states. So now here we will take anchor the news of this morning as we are about to proceed. If you never subscribe, do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and also comment. Very, very important and very, very necessary. So let us go to the main reason why we are here. You can call it an interview. You can call it illustration or whatever. Any way you understand it, because my own understanding of English and yours might not be the same. That is why sometimes when anyone comes to my comment section and said the headline is quite different from the main news of the day, I said, happy here there are moto biko, anime moto. The most important thing there, do you understand anything there? Sometimes we keep on making these silly mistakes. You are watching YouTube, you are watching reading news, you are reading bloggers and the rest of them. The most important thing there, use your number 6, use your Iroro, any news you listen to, whether it's from blogger or from a news media outlet or media house, what the most important thing there is that do you learn anything from that? Or every time when I'm going to come to the comment section and begin to comment, why do you have to do like this? Your this is not real, your this is not real. Listen, I'm not giving a propaganda news. If I don't give some headlines, you will not like to listen to that news. That is why sometimes you need to bring a very well and sweet and mouth-watering headline to make you, so that you'll be interested to know exactly what is inside that news. I'm not complaining. I'm here to on yourself. After you go every time you and you keep on exhibiting it anywhere you find yourself. That is why all these people are writing us up, down, left and right. Every time I must complain. Anyone where another person do is ever good. We can never be appreciated. I beg, let us go straight to the reason why we are here this morning. In this interview, the internationally acclaimed civil rights crusader bears his mind on the interactable insecurity in the southeast, the conspiracy, the biased narrative, and the commercialization of the crisis, published on the Biafran Post. This day being the 4th day in the month of July in the year of 2023, as you can see. This is a fresh news. So you cannot tell me that this one is old news. I have listened to it. No. I heard this news at the left side of my ear this early morning when I was in a Newark before I arrived this morning, because my flight from this AP just carried me land this morning. So I said, let me bring this news to our hearing. It is very, very okay, and it's very, very important for we to digest it and to know exactly what it is all about. It's about 1 year since this commission was inaugurated. What have been the activities so far? That is the question. In the first 8 months of the commission, we try to understand the situation. So we meet over 100 interested groups, including community leaders, security agencies, faith-based organizations, non-indigenous in Anambra, vocational groups, drivers, market people, and the traditional medicine providers. That is Ndidibia. We have made some recommendations which are contained in our inception reports submitted in February of this year. The recommendation led by Bureau of Missing Persons by the Anambra government in April. There are also other institutional adaptations that will result from that report. These include establishing of Safety and Environmental Commission. The Environmental Commission is informed by the fact that most people who claim to be agitating have taken over the forest or have taken over our forest. It is important to ensure that our forests are conserved as assets for the people and not converted to platforms for violent operations, whether justified or not, according to Chidi Odonkalo. These forests should not become centers for warfare between forces of agitation on one hand and the forces of counter-supposed insurgency on the other hand, which means that the forest will no longer be available for farming and subsistence. That will imply hunger, according to the writer of this very news. So, having finished with the inception phase, we needed to allow the election period to pass before starting the public health phase. That is where we are right now. Why traditional medicine practitioners? According to this is a question mark. You will discover that some of these people killed in this violence had charms and amulets, supposedly to give protection by making them invisible or impregnable. So it is important to find out why people will give them such items. That is why we had a meeting with the traditional medicine providers. Our meeting with them was very fascinating, and it is important to what we are doing. According to Chidi Odonkalo, what is the overview of violence and insecurity in the Southeast? With a question mark. This is a question and answer, so I hope you pay utmost attention to understand where this news is heading, with the direction of which I am coming and where I'm heading to. So please do not misunderstand me. Different people have different levels of understanding of the problem. That is why it was important to find a common baseline, a shared analysis of what the situation is all about, which is what the commission has come to do. Here I am with a full stop mark. Another question mark arose. At the heart of our problem as a people is attitude. Part of it is this notion that security issues can only be solved by those who carry guns like soldiers and policemen, which is lie. We have to do away with the notion that security cannot be disclosed in public. The interesting thing is that when these people run into problems, they begin to tell you that security is everybody's business. This is the first thing we want to address. The idea of that, the only way to get an answer to this situation is military solutions, according to Professor Chidi Odonkalo. What is the historical background of the insecurity in the Southeast region? That is the question mark. Let us go straight, or let us reverse back to memory lane since 1999 that the democracy started in this so-called Nigeria. The situation in the Southeast has been a continuum of metastasis since 1999. If you go back to the history of political assassination since 1999, the worst and most persistent cases are in the Southeast. Kidnapping. It dates back to the President Olusegun Obasanjo's administration in Anambra State. A sitting governor was kidnapped with the complicity of the federal then government AIG Ralph Ige, who was in charge of Zone 9, died immediately before the investigation started. So he could not tell the story. People will easily forget that every major government establishment was destroyed in one day by elements who were working with the federal government, which was why Chinua Achebe, an Anambra indigene from Ogidi, Idemili North, declined national honor. At that time, there was nothing like IPOB or ESN. At that time, Nnamdi Kanu was an admirer of Nigeria, but a lot of people have forgotten this. The absence of a sense of history in the reason why the single narrative of IPOB being the reason for the problem in the Southeast is running. I think it is important to address that misconception. Okay, to address that misconception. But people say IPOB and ESN are solely responsible for the violence in the Southeast and a greater number of deaths resulting from it, which is a typical lie, according to Chidi Odinkalo. That is not correct. The insecurity situation in the Southeast is not just a regional problem, but a centric circle of issues. The hottest spot of killings in the Southeast as we speak is in Idemili, Anambra State, particularly Ubosi in Idemili North, which has the largest population density in the Southeast. In these places, you don't have IPOB. The criminal gang there will ensure IPOB does not survive because their survival will put the criminal gangs out of business. The killings in Idemili are endemic and they are nothing to do with IPOB. In the past year, over 100 persons have been killed in Idemili. No week passes without 3-4 young men being killed in Idemili. This is organized crime involving small arms, light weapons, cultism, and drug peddling of transnational dimension, according to Chidi Odinkalo. Abeg, do not get tired. Let us move ahead. These are more endemic than the IPOB problem, but nobody wants to deal with it. Ozobro massacre does not have anything to do with IPOB. It was a transnational drug crime, but nobody has called for accountability on that. There is an interstate dimension. That is where every state has to take steps to address its internal problems, according to Odinkalo. For instance, in Anambra, the areas bordering Imo show high susceptibility to violence. These are Ihiala, Nnewi South, Urumba North, Nnewi South, Urumba North, and Agwata local government areas. There are Igala people that are indigenous to Anambra, so on the borders of Anambra with Kogi, Enugu, Delta, and Edo states. These are massive killings going on there, but does not have anything to do with IPOB. That is why it is not being discussed. Because these cases of insecurity do not fit into the narrative of IPOB. They are not getting attention. If you go to parts of Imo and Abia states, which share borders with Rivers State, there are serious security issues there. Recently, about 50 persons were wiped out in Izombe, Oguta local government area of Imo State. Also in Okwa, Abia State, crisis is going on, and this is defined by the natural resources exposure to crude oil. It is not by accident that this is the area where Osisi Kankwo operated during his years of terror. Most Twitter generation youth may not know who Osisi Kankwo was, and because those things don't fit into the IPOB narrative, it will not get attention. What other factors are responsible for the insecurity? With question mark. Community government is a serious component of the problem. There is a fight for Igweship in many places outside Onitsha, which has a very strong stool. There is also the tussle for President General of Town Union in many communities. There are tussle between the Igwe and the President General for the control of resources and control of vigilante groups, and that has to do with access to development funds which come from the government and access to political patronage from politicians. The fourth is the collaboration between the Igwe and the President General and the President General of on the one hand, and the militias of violence on the other hand. And this complex relationship led to killings. So the parties involved in this tussle go and rent the militia and arm them with shoot and kill the people on the other side. So this circles is the big part of the issue. Until recently, they used to settle these things through the courts, but many no longer go to court. They bow to the militias, and that is the cause of a major part of killings you are seeing today. In the past 18 months, about 6 president generals have been assassinated. The last being that of Obosi. I am not talking about Igwes and president generals whose houses have been destroyed and burned down. The natural resources dimension, which we see in parts of Anambra North, in parts of the Imo West, and in the border communities with other geopolitical zones. So they require attention. There is also the dimension of gun running. If you notice, weapons are no longer being run by the roads. They are being run through the river transport system. This is where Anambra becomes important because it has rivers. It has rivers that are very connected to the river Niger and other rivers. These tributaries empty into the creeks of Niger Delta, and a lot of guns are now being shipped through these paths, through the paths to parts of Niger State. It goes well beyond the borders of the southeast. There is also the collaboration between criminal elements in the southeast and those in the Niger Delta. We need to look at them very, very audaciously, according to Chidi Odonkalo. For us in the Commission, these are very important. There are different dimensions to this insecurity in the southeast, which unfortunately have been reduced to a single narrative, IPOB. Why did these issues become more manifest in recent times, and do you think they could have been handled differently? With question mark, here are the answers from Chidi Odonkalo. The Muhammadu Buhari administration messed up big time, and unfortunately, they did not mess up in the southeast only. It cut across all regions. But the southeast was a particular problem. Buhari approached the situation in the southeast with a unique prejudice. He has something in his head about the Igbo people. Unfortunately, so, but that is what it is. He also surrounded himself with people who spoke his language and worshipped where he worshipped, and people who pandered to his prejudices. The absence of people from the southeast who could tell him and the security agencies some informed opinion about the situation in that part of the country also did not help. The Defense and the Security Council and Joint Leadership Security Services without anybody from the southeast. So it was easy for these who did not wish the southeast well, and by extension, who did not wish the country well, to take the advantage of the situation to cause carnage, according to Odenkalo. Unfortunately, the leadership of Buhari did little or nothing to address the real problems. It actually made things worse with its optics, analysis, and prejudice. That is why a lot of casualties of the violence tragically are uniform people. For instance, how many police stations are left in the region in Imo and Anambra? The NSAS took out most of them in the areas where you can say the agitation is much. There have been additional attacks just to make sure the police do not regroup in these areas, which are Imo West and Anambra South senatorial districts. In these places, some of the policemen are still there, no longer to work in uniforms. Soldiers also have to be very careful. Usually, they go with the overwhelming force to respond to small situations. It is now a contest of militias, militia of agitation, militia of organized crime. The problem cannot be solved by bringing the military to shoot all of them. You cannot shoot all of them. That is why we have to find a complementary approach that is not based on uniform, nihic, or tactical, according to Odenkalo. Do you think there has been a genuine intention to fight insecurity in the southeast? There is no intention. Actually, the past administration wanted it to be that way. That is why we are in this mess. Sadly, in Nigeria today, insecurity is a money-making venture, and these people do not want to share the money with anybody. As long as they are making money from insecurity, security is not everybody's problem. But when they are no longer making money from it, it becomes everybody's problem. If you tell somebody you want money to run an operation to root out IPOB in a particular village, they will give you money for quick action and you will make money very quickly. The problem is that people are using these things as avenues to make money, not really to address the fundamental problems. Addressing these problems cannot help you make money. Again, there is no theater of insecurity in Nigeria, but has ever got better through our military operations. In southern Kaduna, we had the first Kafanchan riot in 1987, and the area has got worse since then. The Joint Task Force in Niger Delta was the first deployed in 1994. We still have JTF almost 30 years after, but JTF is supposed to be an interim and temporary response to the problem of the Niger Delta agitation spearheaded by Mossop. Hear it again, Mossop. Even with the killing of Kinsaro Wiwa and the other 8, all the junior military officers who were sent there have retired, but the JTF is still there. In Brunei, we went from the anti-terrorism to counter-terrorism, operation to counter-insurgents, and the war is still there. It all started in 2009, and in 2023, it has not ameliorated. In the Middle Belt, since the Febrisima report in 1994, we are still there. In all of these, the initial crew that got involved in what was supposed to be a temporary intervention have all left. The region have become militarized. In Plateau, the only thing that gave them a breathing space was Plateau Resolve of 2005, which was led by a woman, Elizabeth Palm. It was a civil engagement which got the state together at a table to get answers to addressing coexistence problems in the Plateau North. Based on the findings of the ATJPC, what appeal are you making for an enduring peace in the Southeast? With question mark. Here are the answers. This is where Governor Soludo deserves some credit. He has invested quite some attention to the issue of insecurity, and we are all seeing a return in normalcy. Nightlife is back in Oka. People now clock to early morning and go home safely by 4 a.m. The peace building problems can start in Anambra, but it cannot end here. We need other governors to buy into it. We welcome the fact that Southeast governors have resumed meeting. It is very significant step, and hopefully we shall see some progress. Commission and would like to appeal to a greater interest by the federal officials and federal government in understanding and addressing these dimensions. These are more interactable, don't lend themselves to money making. According to Chidodin Kalo, he said, and I quote, "We need non-nitic approaches which enjoy legitimacy in the communities which these actors can trust, and that is what this commission is here to do." So this is a commission that is going to tackle anything that got to do with insecurity. In other words, according to Chidodin Kalo's explanation, everything that got to do with insecurity in the Southeast have nothing to do with holding of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or the IPOB or ESN. It has been there since long, but the issue there is this: it has been politicized. That is why you see it. Everybody that's doing anything in the Southeast now, what's it got to do with insecurity? It will be IPOB, ESN, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, which is not so. Or probably they would also call Simon Ekpa. But all these things are the ones who claimed with that Biafran name and be perpetrating so heinous crime that is very dangerous to humanity, according to Professor Chidi Odinkalo. And the other hand, though, before we round up this news, we have a situation at hand here. A driver, he don't get VIO. Vehicle inspection officer, which is VIO officers here in Delta State. He get them at the cut off the ear. You know all these VIO people, they are very wicked people. They are worst people you can ever meet on the highway. Even the Federal Road Safety Corps self is more better than them. Very wicked set of people. Their anger here, whether you are right or you are wrong, everything, they took it the same. Let us continue. A yet to identify Sienna car driver had reportedly biting the ear of a vehicle inspection officer VIO, identified as Papu Prosper. The incident occurred during a heated argument between the VIO officer and the driver along Ego roundabout by Federal Government College, Warre, Delta State. The victim, who confirmed the development to Vanguard on Monday, said the incident happened on Friday. According to him, the driver was earlier apprehended during an operation over expired car particulars, VIO, Vehicle Inspection Officers. Narrating his order, the victim said, "I'm a vehicle inspection officer. We went for a patrol in Warri Delta State, where we apprehended a driver whose car particulars have expired. In the process, my boss told me to follow him to our office in Warri to confirm whether his particulars are up to date or not." That is where you people made a mistake. In the US, I know you people say you are copying US. In the US, they don't need to go far to confirm whether the person's vehicle license is okay or not. Supposed to have the system in your car. Yes, but you people will not have that. Rather, you will choose to be carrying what they call it, POS, for people to be doing transfer. You and police people have to be very careful. You have to follow you to the station to know whether the car document is up to date. Nonsense. While following the man, he said he will kill me, that the VIO has done a lot. So he brought out a dagger and was trying to butcher me into pieces. I struggled to get out of the vehicle as it was on speed. In the process, I fought him and he bite off my ear. Bite off your ear, right? Thank you. Thank you very seriously for this man. You have done well. Because this VIO, and I know the hear word. At least other ones will pick correction. As we are moving forward, though, we have another situation at hand here. From Festus Akpamo, the Speaker of APC Presidential Campaign Council. What a bunch of people have failed to realize about European Union reports. Festus Akpamo. The former Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Festus Akpamo, had berated those rejoicing over the European Union report on the 2023 election. According to him, the court at the European Union in its final report on the 2020 general polls said that the exercise exposed the enduring systematic weakness and therefore signaled a need for further legal and operational reforms to enhance transparency, inclusiveness, and accountability. In a statement via Twitter on Monday, Keyamo said there is no single election in the entire world that will not record certain compliance or irregularities in certain areas. But not this open daylight robbery. Yes, we all believe in that, and we all accept that election can never be 100% okay. But not this daylight robbery, which everybody, even 25% that they used in the past government, and they said, Muhammadu Buhari, you cannot attend because you didn't win the 25% in the Federal Capital Territory. Suddenly, in the case of Tinubu, no more 25% in the Federal Capital Territory because the election have already programmed to be in favor of the APC candidate. However, the irregularities that affected the election are not enough to claim that the loser will have won or winner will have lost, according to Festus Akpamo. According to Kiamo, it is only a forensic examination of the entire process by the judiciary that can clearly determine the extent the supposed irregularities affected the outcome of the 2023 election. He added that the European Union report is not a document that tells who won or lost in election. Instead, it makes recommendations for improvement in future elections. He wrote, declaring certain aspects of an election or electoral processes as flawed is not synonymous as saying the whole process was a catalyst failure. This is the simple differences a whole bunch of people have failed to realize. If you cancel an entire process each time some irregularities happen or are reported, we may conduct an election 100 times and no winner will be announced. It is only a forensic examination of the entire process by the judiciary that can only clearly determine the extent the supposed irregularities affected the final outcome of the election, and that our legal rules already laid down to achieve this. The European Union report is not and cannot be a document that tells you who won the election, who won or lost the election. It only reports the irregularities noticed and makes recommendations for improvement in future elections. Therefore, all the hoopla over that European Union report is neither here nor there when it comes to legitimizing or delegitimizing the government of the day. That power or responsibility belongs to the judiciary. I hope those who are now gyrating excitedly, as if they are speaking in tongues over the European Union, will also have the spirit and anointing to accept the embrace the actual forensic judgment by our properly constituted law courts when they eventually decide on the 2023 elections. And I hope if the court will also do the right thing, that you also will accept if the court come out and said that election of the 25th February is hereby null and void. I hope you will not challenge it, because I know you face with Akpamo, and I know your counterparts, likes of Dela Alake and what they call him, and the Bayo Nonoga, that ugly monster. I know you people very well. You are claiming now that the judiciary is the last hope to decide on election victory. But bear it in mind that that thing which you think that the judiciary will announce, maybe it might not favor you at the end of it. And when it happens, and I hope you also accept it with all your heart and your mind. I'm talking to you, Festus Akpamo. Let us take this, I think it's supposed to be our last news here, the last but not the least. This one is coming from Shehu, the trial of Shehu Kuti. And I remember Shehu Kuti, the slapingitis of a policeman. It has been adjourned till September. The trial of Afrobeat musician Shehu Kuti has again experienced a setback as the chief magistrate of the Yaba Magistrate Court, Adeola Olu Batosun, is on leave. Nigerians understand that the registrar of the court, Mr. Babalola, in the absence of the chief magistrate, had adjourned the case till September 27, 2023 for continuation of hearing. Are you hearing me? For continuation of the proceedings, sorry to say. Recall that Shehu Kuti was arraigned by the Lagos State Police Command on May 16, 2023 for assaulting a police officer. An offense which is said to be contrary to Section 356 of the Nigerian Criminal Code Act or Code of Conduct. During the hearing on May 24, Magistrate Oluwa Tubosun, in her ruling, faulted the police, saying it cannot be complainant and also the prosecutor of the case at the same time. So she therefore requested the DPP's advice to continue the prosecution. She said, I need the advice of the DPP to know whether he should be prosecuted or not, and subsequently adjourned the case till July 3, 2023 for DPP's advice on the matter. However, when the case was to be heard today, Olatunbosun was said to have resumed her administrative leave and was thus absent in court today, and subsequently the case was further adjourned till the time, till God knows when. Till September 27 thereabout. So my wonderful people, my viewers and subscribers, now here we go take back our kaya and I go with the go. So if you never subscribe to my channel, don't forget to do that ASAP. Turn on the notification button, be notified each time we go live or we post something new, either on this channel or any other channel related to Okute Daily Talk. So my wonderful people, until you hear my voice again, I still remain your one and only Okute Daily Talk, or you can call me Amandia Neze from the platform of Okute Daily Talk. May the Almighty Chukwuka Abiyama let him bless us all, the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. He shall bless us in Eke, in Ore, in Afo, and also in Ongwo, the 4 market days that represent the 4 corners of the earth, east, west, and north and south. So anything where they do, I beg, bear it in mind that without you, there will be no Okute, and without my kind of news, you know, go to jollificate each time you want to listen to news, because I mix my news with comedy news. That is what I call it, on my own illustration and understanding. So my wonderful people, have a nice day. May the God see us through and bless us this day and onwards. Be blessed as you share this message, as you subscribe, as you like, as you do what, as you also subscribe and comment. Bye for now, my wonderful people. Que mesiano.